This is insane, as everyone has lost their minds right now when it comes to the discourse around Toronto Raptors trade season. Yes, in recent weeks we've heard similar names, popular names in Raptors trade discussions be brought up, but over the past couple days, a couple of reports, rumors, discussions have come out that frankly make absolutely no sense whatsoever for this Toronto Raptors team. So we're going to discuss what these are, what people are saying about this squad, and frankly, why this just doesn't make any sense for the Toronto Raptors here now whatsoever. But before we dive into that, folks, we have an exciting announcement, as this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proudly partnered with Team Canada. And while they've been helping our Team Canada defend their home court in international competition, they've been helping thousands of Canadians find their home court all across the country, whether in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's. From coast to coast, Rentals.ca helps you find the perfect place and price for you to move. Their website is clean, it's easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you'd like to move, and Rentals.ca will be able to help you find your perfect destination. So make sure you guys check them out down below in the pinned comment or the description of this video, and shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting the channel with being a great partner for us for years now at this point, for supporting Team Canada, helping this team, continue to make their push for hopefully eventually gold out there in the Olympics and international competition, but most importantly, helping you guys for supporting being there for you guys. So shout out to Rentals.ca, check them out in the pinned comment as well as the description down below. But let's dive into the nonsense, let's dive into the madness, because again, the first thing we're discussing is a report that's come out revealing the Raptors are among favorites for Brandon Ingram. Now, the Raptors aren't at the top of the list by any stretch of the imagination, but the betting odds always kind of list. And they have the deep insider knowledge. They have, that extra sort of insights in regards to what's going on around the NBA. And now they're essentially coming out and revealing the Toronto Raptors have one of the better odds out there in the NBA for Brandon Ingram. And we've heard Brandon Ingram trade rumors in the past, Masai, the Raptors being linked there at times. And now taking a look at it here, the Toronto Raptors are on this list at plus 2,000, along with a multitude of other teams. So the Raptors are a unique spot because they're really the only rebuilding squad, with maybe exception of the Chicago Bulls, out here on this list that are pretty in the mix for Brandon Ingram. And while the Raptors are further down the list, plus 2,000, everyone's at a similar rate. So maybe it's all just speculation. They're trying to get people's betting odds up. But I've seen a few people send this, say, hey, should the Raptors go after Brandon Ingram? Does this make a ton of sense? Should this team really go out there and try to trade for Brandon Ingram? And this is also a little bit bigger too, and the discourse before the Oklahoma City Thunder lost, because everyone's like, oh, the tank is off, let's get some win now players, because the Raptors could use some depth out there at the forward position. And Brandon Ingram could be got for a cheaper price. We've already discussed him over the course of the season, so it could be a buy low opportunity, it could be a buy low option. But really, this team, if they wanted a guy like Brandon Ingram, they wouldn't have traded away Pascal Siakam last season. That's just the reality of it, because again, the price is probably going to be something similar, maybe less first round picks, but we didn't even get that much of a return for Pascal Siakam. So it is a buy low opportunity on a guy that is pretty effective out there on the basketball court, like Brandon Ingram. 23 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He shoots 37% from the 3-point line, is good at basketball. Don't get me wrong in terms of, I don't want to come out, he's only 27 years old as well. Like, Brandon Ingram is a good basketball player. He's an effective scorer out there for the New Orleans Pelicans. And essentially, news and reports, the reason why you've probably seen so much Brandon Ingram discourse about pretty well every NBA team is because he wants to go to a team that's going to win a little bit more. And in theory, people are saying, hey, the Raptors, with Ingram out there at the 4, with players returning from injury, Immanuel Quickley, obviously Jakob Poeltl had an illness, Gradey Dick, all these guys come back in the lineup. Hey, this Raptors team could be contending right away. Personally, I don't think Masai Ujiri wants to jump the gun just yet. We've done this in the past. We jumped the gun a little bit in 2021, 2022, and it led to a couple seasons of just midness for this Raptors team. So jumping the gun on Brandon Ingram just doesn't really make sense unless you can get him for an absolute bargain barrel of a deal and then maybe even flip him once again. But that's kind of the reality here for Brandon Ingram. It seems like there's a serious market for him, but the fact the Raptors are even on this list confuses me a little bit. But the one that's genuinely blasphemous, that's genuinely absurd, that's genuinely ridiculous, is this embarrassing Toronto Raptors trade proposal that links in the Portland Trailblazers. Now, The Raptors, again, I don't mind. Masai Ujiri might make some moves. He might make some shakeups. I'm not opposed to this team, making some transactions to bolster this team, whether it's short-term, long-term, whatever the heck's going on, right? It depends on, I made multiple videos on this saying that the next month of games where the Raptors have a very difficult schedule is going to determine the direction of this team over the course of the season. But regardless of what's happening, this deal should not even be thought of. It shouldn't be a hypothetical. It shouldn't be written down on paper. And most importantly, this isn't just some random blog. This isn't some random thing. Well, it feels like a random blog or thing, but when you type in NBA.com, and do this now, because I was trying to build some software to get some stuff going out there with NBA.com, but you type in NBA.com in Canada, you're not on a VPN or you don't do some weird stuff with the URL, you go to this website called sportingnews.com, and it's, what the URL directly links to in the NBA. So they are officially partnered with the NBA. This outlet that's come out making these trade proposals are officially, what NBA.com directly goes to in Canada. So, to say, oh, this is a nothing report or whatever, it's literally the NBA, the league's website, has this garbage being posted onto it. And essentially, this is the trade proposal, essentially from the Sporting News, that in a possible trade, the Raptors could send Bruce Brown, Ochai Agbaji, Jonathan Mobo, and draft picks, not picks, to the Portland Trailblazers for Deandre Ayton. With the Trailblazers in a rebuild, adding more young talent along with a tradable asset in Bruce Brown, which would benefit them, and along with getting rid of Ayton's massive contract for Toronto, adding Ayton to their starting lineup would give them another young star to pair alongside Barnes, Gradey Dick, RJ Barrett, and Immanuel Quickley. It would also allow them to either move Jakob Poeltl to the bench or trade him away. Folks, I've seen some bad trade reports. I've said some crazy things out here on YouTube. I've been on here for, 7 years now at this point. Daily, no matter where we are. I'm in Montreal right now, just in a hotel. I'm trying to get this out. But that might be the stupidest thing I've ever read in my life. In terms of a sport announcement, especially a link directly, NBA.com sends you to this page. NBA.com sends you to the Sporting News, this website, whatever the heck it is. There's a lot wrong with what was said there. Let's just take it back a notch. So firstly, the Blazers are getting off of Ayton's massive contract. Massive deal. And the Raptors give him Bruce Brown, who is a trade asset right now, given his contract situation. A lot of teams would be interested in him. Ochai Agbaji, who, let me remind you, is the best three-point shooter in the NBA right now in terms of corner threes. He's shooting 53.6% from corner threes. He makes over half of his corner threes. He's shooting 48% from the three-point line, averaging 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, and is 24 years old. And is one of the more elite on-ball defenders in the entire NBA. And we're giving up, straight up, even with the contracts, if it was just one for one, I'm not trading Ochai Agbaji for Deandre Ayton. I'm just not doing that. That's stupid. It makes no sense. And Ochai's on a better contract. He's better situation. He's been with this team. So that one for one doesn't make any sense. And then thrown in there, Bruce Brown, who's our, expiring that we have, and we could get back some better value for. And then you're also, just for the sake of it, let's throw in Jonathan Mobo, who, as a rookie right now, is averaging 6 points per game, 4 rebounds, only 23 years old, and has a ton of upside, for this Raptor squad. He has a tight relationship with Scottie Barnes, all of these types of things. And we're just throwing them there in the mix for Deandre Ayton. And not to mention, the Raptors also throw in some draft picks. Let's say the Raptors, you also throw in a pick or two, because the Raptors aren't a team that needs draft picks, that needs their sort of seconds, first, whatever the heck is being alluded to in this sort of discussion. That's absurd in its own right. That's something you can look at and just be like, Ben, what's going on here? That's just stupid. I'm repeating myself. But the worst part about this clip, this excerpt, this whatever you want to call it, is it would also allow them to either move Jakob Poeltl to the bench or trade him away. And there are some people making legitimate reasoning, takes to trade away Jakob Poeltl. Most of those folks are trying to be capturing flags, and I'm not roasting those folks when I say this, but to bring in Deandre Ayton to replace Jakob Poeltl, to trade away Jakob Poeltl, is just a generational downgrade. Maybe not generational, but it is a significant downgrade in terms of talent, especially out there on the defensive end. And to even propose, to ponder the idea of Jakob Poeltl playing on the bench behind a Deandre Ayton proves this guy just hasn't watched a single Raptors game in 3 years. Since Kawhi left. Since Kyle Lowry left. Whatever you want to say. Because I don't know. I'm giving this too much time, but people have lost their minds, man. People have lost their minds in all this discourse. And I'm open. I've taken criticism for being a little bit too optimistic about the Raptors or this trades. I love talking about this stuff, but that is dumb. That is objectively dumb. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know if you agree, disagree, if you want to see this Ayton for Ochai Agbaji, Jonathan Bobo, Bruce Brown trade go down, and picks for the Raptors. I may as well just move Pearl to the bench after it. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm signing out. Cheers.